Is C4 making good products now? I've actually enjoyed a lot of the recent Cellucor iterations, like their Project Clear Evolution, but the newest Ultimate SHRED is a completely disclosed, non-proprietary pre-workout that adds in a bunch of really nice fat-burning ingredients that I think everyone should be taking a serious look at. We've praised a lot of companies for throwing CaloriBurn in products of their pre-workouts or fat burners, and Cellucor is actually using a higher dosage than most of those at 46 milligrams. Now, this is NNB's CaloriBurn, a really cool grains of paradise extract that tests out and has more than just 6-paradol, but also gingerol and the other 3 non-6-paradol constituents of grains of paradise that actually test out. There's 100 different reasons to use this, so let's jump in and talk about the formula as a whole. Now, in proper Cellucor fashion, they start off with a citrulline blend of citrulline, citrulline nitrate, and citrulline malate. Now, I don't know what ratio the citrulline malate is, so I'm going to assume at worst it's a 1-to-1, and since we have a gram there, it's going to be around 500 milligrams to 750 milligrams. But the cool thing is that you also get 4 grams of L-Citrulline and 1 gram of citrulline nitrate. Now, 1 gram of citrulline nitrate is in somewhere around probably like 750 milligrams of citrulline with 250 milligrams of nitrate. It's in that range. I don't know the exact weight of the molecule. I can go figure it out. But what you need to know is that you're getting at least 5 grams of L-Citrulline here. And since L-Citrulline starts out at like 3 grams for raising blood arginine concentrations, that's actually a pretty good dosage. I know everyone wants like 10 grams and some ridiculousness. You don't need all that when you're using proper ingredients and synergies here. So we're starting off with a great dosage of citrulline at 5 grams. Extra nitrates here, some malic acid for cellular energy, but probably more like just flavoring here. And we're getting into the full bulk of this pre-workout with carnosine beta-alanine. Now, carnosine is the previous patent owner for beta-alanine. It's no longer patented, so you can use generics out there, but carnosine does have some special studies for their version that it's supported. 3.2 grams is going to be your clinical dosage. Technically, ISSN requires like 4 grams on their position stand, but carnosine has done a lot of studies at 3.2. It's very typical to see this 3.2 gram dosage. You use this over time frequently, and it's going to saturate your blood, and it's going to help out with increasing work capacity for lifters, especially if they're using longer sets like drop sets and supersets. This is really important for buffering lactic acid because beta-alanine is the rate limiting factor increasing carnosine. Beta-alanine and histidine create carnosine together, which buffers lactic acid. So by adding in more of it, you're gonna be better at buffering lactic acid. You're gonna be able to extend your sets longer, which is really important for hypertrophy. Indirectly, I consider this to be a muscle builder. From there, we're looking at taurine, which is at 1 gram. This is the starting dose for taurine. It helps with everything from hydration to just general athleticism and endurance. I'm a big fan of taurine. I'm happy they've got it in here. I'll take as much of that as I can. Alpha size at 200 milligrams. This is a choline donor. Alpha size is a trademark version of alpha GPC. Alpha GPC is an awesome choline donor. It's got some other things like power output claims and stuff like that. This isn't a huge dosage here. Some people are going to say they wish they had more of it. I'm happy with any amount of choline, especially from one of these more premium choline donors as opposed to like a choline bitartrate, which is a little cheaper. It's usually easier to get more choline bitartrate because it's cheaper, and as you get into alpha GPC, citicholine, phosphatidylcholine, you're going to see less of it in formulas because it's more expensive and you have to get your bang for your buck, right? Theagreen here is going to be a really cool like cousin of caffeine from Compound Solutions. This was really big in like the early 2010s. I'm a fan of it. In some people, they feel a little bit sleepy on it. There seems to be a bell curve for weight and how much you use of it. But alongside these other stimulants, I think it's going to add to the focus effects here. Capsimax is going to be a capsaicin extract from peppers, which is going to help a lot with similar things to the CaloriBurn we're going to talk about with converting white adipose tissue into brown adipose tissue, which is more metabolically active. It's also going to be spicy. Now, this is icy blue ras, so they did a pretty good job of covering up that spice with this flavor, but do note that if you find any weird flavor notes, it's going to be coming from that. Now, the oligonol blend that we've got here is a lychee fruit and green tea extract at 50 milligrams. This is going to be a blend of polyphenol extracts, which is going to do a bunch of things. At first face value, it's going to be really great for pumps. Polyphenols are awesome for pumps. But in context of fat burning, there is a well-established data point that as polyphenol intake increases, the rate of obesity decreases, as well as things like insulin resistance. In one study with elderly subjects, again, probably easier to get claims out of elderly subjects, but still worth the data point. The rate of more polyphenols being consumed by participants lowered their risk of obesity. This might be due to ECGC, which is definitely found in green tea extract. It's a very popular fat burner ingredient. All in all, this is also going to be very effective at defattening the liver, which is a super important process for getting rid of obesity. But really, this is all bringing us into the CaloriBurn dosage here. CaloriBurn comes after that extract here. CaloriBurn is going to be that grains of paradise extract I was speaking about. That's not just 6-paradol. There are other extracts on the market that are just 6-paradol, but this adds 6-paradol to the other 3 bioactive constituents that we talk about quite often with grains of paradise, which we always believe should all be together. Not only does this take white adipose tissue and turn it into brown adipose tissue, which is really important for increasing metabolic activity because it's much more metabolically active. Brown adipose tissue is short-term storage fat. White adipose tissue is long-term storage fat, and that energy needs to be more metabolically active for us to use it like that. It's got to be in that brown adipose tissue condition so that we can use it for energy. But CaloriBurn also helps out with mitochondrial biogenesis, which is really important again for mitochondrial health, metabolic health. This extra amount of mitochondria in brown adipose tissue is where the whole brown comes from. When light passes through adipose tissue under a microscope, mitochondria absorbs most of it, and that creates a dark brown spot wherever mitochondria happens. So it'll appear more brown, not to the eye, but through a microscope. After that, we've got gingiver ginger. This is at 10 milligrams. And again, this is going to contain a similar constituent to that grains of paradise, 6-paradol again. A meta-analysis of randomized controlled trials on ginger intake found that ginger consumption improves body composition, waist to hip ratio, heart rate, fasting glucose, and HOMAIR scores, which is going to be a measure of insulin resistance. Overall, this is a pre-workout that not only gives you pump and focus, but brings in quite a few different fat-burning ingredients. And if they aren't stimulating thermogenesis through maybe something like a GDP, which would actually heat you up, it's going to do it through kind of like parallel pathways where we're converting white adipose tissue into brown adipose tissue. That's not an acute effect right during the workout, but over time, using this over a month or 2 months of using it is going to be a very significant effect. Now we close out this formula with two important ingredients, but they're not really going to be acute ones, and one is really going to kick your ass. Tooth club moss is a source of huperzine A. What we were talking about before with choline donors from alpha GPC, that's going to be creating acetylcholine, the learning neurotransmitter. This ingredient here, huperzine A, helps keep that from breaking down. We have acetylcholine esterase in the body, an enzyme that breaks that down. This is going to inhibit that esterase. Now, after that, we've got bioperin, which is an ingredient absorption ingredient. This is not an ingredient that's studied with a lot of the ingredients in here, but because it's from black pepper, it actually does have a fat burning quality to it. Because it uprates GLUT4, your body's ability to bring glucose into muscles out of the bloodstream is going to be really a big benefit from that. Now, this is not, going to be a huge effect, or it's not going to be like a GDA or anything, but it is something that we like to note when we talk about bioperin in the realm of fat burning. Lastly, we've got Rauwolfia vomitoria, a source of alpha-yohimbe at 1 milligram. Now, this is a pretty decent dosage of alpha. This is going to make you sweat and wake you up, get you after your workout. This is one of my favorite stimulants to use, but it is a polarizing stimulant. A lot of people, it's a bit much for them, but I do believe that they added in just the right amount of it here, just enough to wake you up, but not too much to freak you out.